There is a long, nauseating history and a particularly revolting strain of racism which has compared black people to apes. It reappeared last summer and fall during the campaign, and repeatedly so. There is a danger in normalizing violence against politicians or people to whom one is politically opposed. It reappeared when a domestic terrorist attacked a Tennessee church and then revealed he did so because he could not attack the liberals who'd been denounced by a conservative agitator. Yet in our fourth story in the countdown, when Rupert Murdoch's New York Post prints a cartoon touching on the worst parts of both these traditions, and the best defense the cartoonist can make is that he wasn't referring to the President of the United States, just maybe the Speaker of the House. Some actually postulate the cartoon is neither racist nor hateful. From cartoonist Sean Delonis and the New York Post, cops shooting and killing a chimpanzee. The caption there, quote, "They'll have to find someone else to write the next stimulus bill." The obvious reference is to Monday's story of the crazed pit chimpanzee who was shot by police in Stamford, Connecticut after it attacked a woman there. The inferences might be best illustrated by this T-shirt from the last presidential campaign, then Senator Obama as Curious George. The Reverend Al Sharpton, who joins us presently, noted today, the cartoon in today's New York Post is troubling at best given the historic racist attacks of African Americans as being synonymous with monkeys. The stimulus bill has been the first legislative victory of President Barack Obama, the first African American president, and has become synonymous with him. Murdoch's newspaper is, as usual, accepting no criticism, not even offering apology on the premise of mere inadvertence. The statement from the New York Post editor-in-chief Carl Allen. The cartoon is a clear parody of a current news event, to wit the shooting of a violent chimpanzee in Connecticut. It broadly mocks Washington's efforts to revive the economy. Again, Al Sharpton reveals himself as nothing more than a publicity opportunist. Mr. Allen, however, was to some degree contradicted by his own cartoonist. Sean Delonis' only comment thus far, apparently, "Do you really think I'm saying Obama should be shot? I didn't see that in the cartoon. It's about the economic stimulus bill. If you're going to make that about anybody, it would be Pelosi," which it's not. Joining me now as promised, civil rights leader, president of the National Action Network, and former presidential candidate, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Let me hold off on the racial implications just for a second. I think there might even be a bigger point here. The cartoonist has connected political debate to the shooting dead of something, someone, some living creature by the police. That touches violence as a part of politics, maybe assassination. Isn't that really the overarching problem with this thing?
Well, it was. When I first dealt with this issue early this morning and put it on National Action Network's website and put our statement out, I was dealing with, as you stated, the racial insult with monkeys. His response, which was quite stunning, brought in this even broader area. Is almost like saying, well, not only am I going to offend you racially, I'm going to sanitize the possibility of making violence part of the body politic in this country in an acceptable way of engaging in discourse. And I think that's even more troubling and more arrogant.
The specific image, the dead chimpanzee, given the number, we were just talking about this, of monkey and chimp images that were used to represent Obama during the campaign last year, what kind of person could honestly look at this and claim, no, there's no racism in this, there's not even any inadvertent racism in this?
Well, I think that they're not being honest. I mean, when you see the overwhelming National Association of Black Journalists, not just National Action Network, and many national civil rights groups have come out now, legislators, councilmen here, Charles Brown and others that are marching with us tomorrow. Obviously, if you had any sensitivity at all, you would say, even if I didn't intend it, or if I don't see that, if I offended people, let me say that wasn't my intent, let's talk about it. But to counterattack and defend and act like there's something wrong with people saying this is highly offensive speaks to us of a real deep-seated disregard for people's feelings. I think they've made it even worse, and that's why we're proceeding with these daily marches starting tomorrow.
Give me your reaction to the first part of that response from the editor-in-chief. The cartoon, the implication of what he said, I don't think I'm putting a thought in his head here, that the cartoon simply connected two recent news stories. What happened to this poor woman in Connecticut and the stimulus package. That it's no different in one sense from tying the stimulus package news to, say, the plane crash in Buffalo or anything else that was in the news. What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, given the history of this cartoon page, there's been other race-tinged stuff. But the other part of that is, how do you connect what is not connectable? They connected something that just doesn't fit. The shooting of the chimpanzee had absolutely nothing to do with the stimulus bill.
Right.
To put them both in a cartoon and then to use a characterization of the chimpanzee as someone who authored the economic stimulus bill, because you're saying he won't be around to do the next one, can only connect to someone who was involved in that bill. And that, well, who authored the bill, who went around the country selling the bill. Mm-hmm. It was not the Speaker of the House, it was the President, who is the first African-American president. Who is the personification of this bill? It was Obama's bill. So now they're trying to insult the public. And I might say, many whites, as well as blacks, have been outraged. We've been overwhelmed with calls from many white citizens that say, I agree with you, this is outrageous. They've been inundated with calls all day. I don't think they're going to just see blacks upset about this. I think people want to get past this kind of behavior. And for someone to be a newspaper that gets advertising from major corporations, someone who are getting bailout money, they're going to have to answer this.
The Post editor bringing you into this personally, obviously you did publicize it. You brought it up in many respects. You brought it into a lot of the national discourse today. But why? What does it mean when you get dragged into the official response?
I mean, you know, that's fine. To say that I'm a publicity opportunist, first of all, I'm an activist. That's my job, to bring public attention. So I'm glad that they finally acknowledge that I do my job well. What does an activist do? Raise public awareness. So if I didn't do that, then why would I be the head of a civil rights group? But what is interesting is these same forces commended me when I attacked hip-hop artists for using the N-word, H-word, and B-word, or 3 weeks ago when I was in Washington and John McCain and Newt Gingrich came to our rally and agreed with me on education. So I guess I'm only an opportunist if I get publicity in areas that challenge them. If I'm challenging other things, then I'm being responsible. I think that's ludicrous on its face.
You bet it is. All right, last point. Do you think is there a bigger lesson in all this about the need for civility in politics? I mean, criticize all you want the other guy's position, but keep it to the ideas and not to the insulting images. When I guess I'm sort of back discussing the last 8 years when all of those references to George Bush as a chimp were made, and I'm happy to say I don't think I made any of them. But the problem with them being, apart just being insulting, this gives kind of a rationalization for anybody who says, well, you know, but all right, maybe they did call Barack Obama a chimp, but they called George Bush a chimp for 8 years. This is why we shouldn't do this, isn't it?
I think it is, and I think that all of us need to do an evaluation on that. You know, I remember once many years ago I was stabbed leading a march, and I went and forgave the guy. I went to court for the guy and said he should be given a lenient sentence because I had to deal with me. At some point you have to say whatever you do reflects you. None of us should engage in this, and I think the best thing that could come out of this is not only to see the Post have to deal with this kind of journalism, but if all kinds of people not only show up tomorrow, but throughout this campaign, showing from all races and all backgrounds, we will not have this lack of civility and this kind of behavior in the public discourse. Then America proves that we are moving forward, as all of us hope we are, during this new age with President Obama.
Good luck with the event tomorrow.
Thank you.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.